What a revelation this was yesterday, David, when we learned the scope of the complaints that Elections Canada is now taking on. How significant is it that we're talking about 31,000 complaints?
Oh, I think it's very significant because, Nancy, up until this point, the Conservatives, throughout the week, they had really been trying to turn the tables on the opposition, suggesting that the NDP and the Liberals were involved in a smear, that they were sore losers. And just this morning, actually, the Conservative Party put out a document entitled Just the Facts on Opposition Allegations. So you can see, the political games happening within the bubble that we call Parliament Hill. But now when you have Elections Canada investigating, as you say, 31,000, they're calling them contacts, that really is significant. So all of a sudden when you hear complaints of people who say, you know what, I received a call from someone identifying themselves as a Conservative supporter who told me to go to a non-existent polling station. It's hard to say that that person from Merritt, BC or wherever, it's hard to say that that person is smearing the Conservatives. And so I think that what it does is it changes the narrative, it changes the dynamic. Now, it is fair to wonder how many of these contacts that Elections Canada is fielding are merely people who were annoyed by the calls that they were receiving, right, and the number of people who actually received calls that could be actual fraudulent and contrary to the law. Those are legitimate questions, but Elections Canada isn't in the business of saying too much about its investigations. So the fact that it told us this week, or just yesterday, that it has received more than 31,000 contacts is very significant in and of itself.
All right, let's talk timelines, because clearly 31,000 contacts, that's a mountain of information to sift through and investigate. Do we have any idea how long the investigation will take?
We really don't know, because as you say, this is unprecedented. And Elections Canada only has a finite number of resources, investigators. So what they might do is they might have to call in the RCMP. Now, they have an unlimited bank account to do this, if you will. That they can call in as many investigators as they want and then give Parliament the bill afterwards. So there is little question that they will have the resources to do so. What we don't know is the timing. But of course, what's that old saying that nature hates a vacuum? That vacuum will be filled by stories about dirty style politics, the importing of U.S. style politics and the use of firms that are tied to the Republicans, and we're already starting to see those kinds of stories surface. I believe you'll be touching on a bit of this later on in your show.
Absolutely.
And the problem with all of this is that, does it deepen people's disenchantment with politics? That's the real danger here. Or, conversely, does it reawaken people's interest in politics? Does it reawaken the interest of, those who support the Liberals and the NDP? Those are all really interesting questions that maybe Jamie Watt will cover when you talk to him in a little while.
Absolutely.
It'll be really interesting to see what kind of feedback there is. So, I think that we in the media have to be very careful that we don't go too far down the road of trying to peel back this layer and just talk about all the dirty tricks and some of the questionable tactics that happen.
Yeah, very interesting. You're right. We will be pursuing this in greater detail with Jamie in about 2 hours from now. Look forward to that. David, thanks very much for setting the day up for us.
You're welcome.
David Mackay in Ottawa.